Getting married on May Day should have been the brightest moment of my life. But after my husband received a call from his first love, he wanted to cancel the wedding. He said Serena is in the hospital. Something must have happened to her. He turned to leave and I begged desperately. Adrian, please don't go, okay? My mom's only wish is to witness our wedding. He shook off my hand and shouted angrily. Your mom is in the late stages of cancer. A person who is about to die. How can that be more important than Serena's life? He ran away. He didn't know that. It was because of his words that my mother was so furious. She died. Later. It was also him who grabbed my hand tightly, crying. Cass, Simon, please don't leave me. Without you I will die. I kicked him hard in the chest and said coldly. Then go ahead and die. After handling my mother's funeral, I dragged my exhausted body back to the place I once thought of as home. The moment I opened the door I froze in place. In the living room, Adrian was holding Serena tightly, their posture intimate as if no one else was there. I slammed the keys down on the hall table with force, producing a sharp piercing sound. When Serena saw me, she pushed Adrian away like she had been shocked. Her face instantly filled with an innocent and panicked expression. Casamon, don't misunderstand. I almost tripped just now and brother Adrian caught me. She explained urgently, her voice soft and sweet. I ignored her, my gaze fixed firmly on Adrian. There was not a trace of guilt on his face. As if that hastily ended wedding and the old man he had verbally killed had nothing to do with him. His face was full of joy. Holding Serena's waist, his tone unabashedly. Casamon, Serena is pregnant and the child is mine. Boom. My mind went blank. My heart suddenly clenched. And after the dull pain came nausea. I had long known he betrayed me. The abandonment at the wedding had already broken my heart. But for him to so openly flaunt it, bringing his mistress and bastard child in front of me, just after I lost my mother, this hurt more deeply than a knife in my back. A piercing pain. And a disgust that seeped into my bones. He continued, Serena is physically weak and has strong reactions in early pregnancy. You need to take care of her all the way. She has picky tastes like sour food but no vinegar. Use lemon instead. She prefers wearing pure cotton clothes. Soft and comfortable. Good for the baby. You must hand wash them. Washing machines are too harsh. Also to ease her anxiety in early pregnancy. And let her rest assured while nurturing the baby. You should move to the guest room at night. We'll keep the master bedroom for us. I'll personally take care of her. I was shocked by his shamelessness. Why? I retorted coldly. Adrian, can't you afford a nanny? That's different, he said matter-of-factly. The child in Serena's belly is also yours. I feel at ease only if you take care of her personally. My child. What do you mean? Adrian looked at me. His eyes filled with a kind of condescending pity. Cass, Simon, your health isn't good. And the doctor said it's difficult for you to conceive. But my family can't be without an heir. Don't worry. You will always be my legitimate wife, Adrian. Once Serena gives birth to the child, it will be registered under both our names. Legally he will be our child. He paused, his tone seemingly full of concern. I'm doing this for your own good. Otherwise, if you can't have children and come with me to banquets, those rich wives will mock you for not being worthy of me. I rolled my eyes. Finally, understanding what it means to be utterly speechless. It really made me laugh out loud. Laughing until tears nearly came out. At that moment, Serena snuggled up to Adrian just in time. Her voice so soft it seemed to drip with water. Casamon, I'm not here to break up this family. I'm here to join it. I don't care about status really. I just want this child to have a healthy home. To be able to call you mom. Looking at this shameless couple before me, I felt my stomach churn violently. All the sadness, anger and disgust eventually turned into a cold, dead silence. I suppressed all expression. My voice as cold as the ice of midwinter. Give up on this idea. I, Casamon, will never willingly become a mother. Let alone raise a child for a shameless mistress. Casamon, I'm not a mistress. I just love Adrian too much. Serena's tears came suddenly, like beads slipping off a broken string. She clutched her belly. Her voice choked with sobs, almost fainting from crying. Adrian immediately stepped in front of her. His face so dark it seemed to drip water. Cass, Simon, enough. He pointed at me. You're unreasonable, aggressive, you're like a shrew. Apologize. Apologize to Serena right now. Apologize. I sneered coldly. Which word did I say wrong? She, Serena, is nothing but a shameless mistress. And you, Adrian, are a despicable, vile scumbag who deserves a terrible end. The air instantly froze. Adrian's face twisted in an instant. He raised his hand to hit me. But it stopped midair and then was forcibly withdrawn. He took a deep breath, as if trying hard to suppress his violent temper. And in a tone he thought was gentle and forgiving, he tried to reason with Cass Simon. I know you're upset about the sudden cancellation of the wedding, and are taking it out on Serena. I can understand that. But you're being way too narrow-minded and petty. Our wedding is only postponed, not cancelled. Is this really necessary? My heart had already turned cold. Looking at the man in front of me, I felt nothing but estrangement and disgust. There's no need to hold the wedding anymore. I stared into his eyes, speaking each word clearly. Let's break up. Yes, break up, not divorce. Because from beginning to end, we never went to the Civil Affairs Bureau to get a marriage certificate. Even that wedding, which was cancelled, was something I begged him for a long time to agree to. Adrian froze for a second. Then, humiliated and furious, shouted loudly, break up. Are you threatening me with a breakup? Come on, if it weren't for the fact that your mother did me a favor, do you think I would marry you? I've already reserved the position of wife for you. What more do you want? Stop acting out, okay? Anger burst through my chest, and I raised my hand to slap him hard. Adrian was stunned, instinctively covering half of his face, his eyes bloodshot and fierce. My teeth nearly shattered, each word dripping with blood and tears, as I shouted at him. Adrian, you don't deserve to mention my mother. She died. She was driven to death by your anger. The moment he announced the cancellation of the wedding and turned to leave, I received a call from the hospital. The doctor said my mother had a convulsion, and her heartbeat plummeted to a critical state. While watching the live broadcast and hearing Adrian's words, when I rushed to the ward, she had only a little strength left. She held my hand and said, daughter, I'm sorry I misjudged him. That last sentence pierced my heart like a nail. She passed away without even closing her eyes, while I cried until I fainted. When I woke up, my best friend kindly stayed with me to handle my mother's funeral arrangements for a full 7 days. That bastard Adrian didn't show up even once, and no matter who called, his phone was always off. My poor mother treated him like her own son and gave everything, but in the end all her sincerity was fed to the dogs. When Adrian was just born, my mother started working as a nanny for the Adrian family. She was quick and meticulous, earning the trust of Adrian's mother. When I was 15, Adrian's mother asked my mother to bring me to live in the Fu household, and even arranged a school for me. Although under the same roof as Adrian, we had no interaction apart from school. I obediently stayed in the servants' quarters to study. I thought we would always remain parallel lines. But no one expected that. The night before he got engaged to Serena, the Fu family went bankrupt. What was even more unexpected was that the one who stabbed them in the back was the Serena Lin family. The Lin family couldn't wait to announce the broken engagement. Adrian couldn't accept it, and braved the heavy rain to find Serena. He knelt outside the Lin family villa, pleading over and over, Serena, don't break off the engagement. Don't leave me. But Serena was already with another man. She said to me, you're nothing but a sycophant. If it weren't for trying to find out your family's company secrets, I wouldn't even bother meeting you. Adrian was deeply hurt and utterly broken. He shouted at Serena, Serena, one day you will regret this. But when he got home, even worse news awaited him. His father suddenly died of a heart attack, and Adrian's mother turned white-haired overnight, exhausted and heartbroken, passing away less than half a month later. Adrian fell from a competent second-generation rich heir to an orphan with no parents, no car, no house, and no money. Watching him stand at the gate of the sealed off Fu family villa, crying bitterly, my mom felt heartbroken. Adrian was like a son she had watched grow up, and she had long loved him as if he were her own child. My mom held an umbrella and pulled the drenched him into her arms, choking back tears as she comforted him. Adrian, life is all about holding on. Your parents worry about you the most. You have to live well. Keep studying and become a useful person. Money is not a problem. I will support you. Just like that. My mom brought him home and asked me to treat him like an older brother. Adrian was down for a while, but under the care and concern of my mom and me, he finally pulled himself together and faced his new life with a positive attitude. Although those years were lived in poverty, our family was very happy. Adrian transformed completely, becoming more responsible and caring deeply for both my mom and me. He helped me fend off bullies, made brown sugar water for me when I had menstrual pain, and worked several part-time jobs for months just to buy me a birthday gift. During the time we spent together, my heart was unknowingly moved. Even though he was no longer some rich, second-generation heir, I didn't dare to have too many thoughts about him, and quietly kept this affection in my heart. But I never expected that he would be the one to confess to me first. And in front of my mom, he asked for her permission to pursue me, to be my boyfriend. He said he would never let me down, and would make me happy for a lifetime. My mom happily agreed. That's how we got together. Later Adrian said he wanted to start a business, and my mom didn't hesitate at all. She sold the house back home, and took out all her savings to support his venture. I also quit my stable job for his career, staying by his side as a secretariat clerk, and even a salesperson, attending social events and bringing in clients. We went through a lot of disdain together, and were even deceived. Fortunately, we never ended up sleeping on the streets. Because of my mom. She was our strongest support. Fortunately, our efforts were not in vain. In 7 years, Adrian not only established the company, but also expanded its scale, gaining a foothold in the industry. Our lives were getting better and better, and my mom should have been enjoying her well-deserved happiness. But suddenly she collapsed at the market. Adrian and I rushed to the hospital together, where the doctor told us that my mom was in the late stage of cancer. At that moment, I truly felt like my world was collapsing. I threw myself into Adrian's arms and cried out loud. Adrian, with a gentle and magnetic voice, said to me, "It's okay, I'm here for everything. No matter how much it costs. We will make sure Mom Jean recovers." That night, I stayed at the hospital to keep my mom company, while Adrian received an urgent call and left. Later, if I hadn't accidentally run into him at the mall, buying a diamond necklace for Serena, I really wouldn't have known. That night he was actually rushing to the airport to pick up Serena. Actually, I had noticed Adrian had changed a long time ago. He was always texting behind my back, never without his phone, and sometimes would laugh out loud for no reason. When I asked him what he was laughing at, he said he was watching funny videos. But a woman's sixth sense is always terrifyingly accurate. He must have been cheating. I just didn't expect the other woman to be Serena. The woman who once caused his family to go bankrupt, his parents to die, and publicly mocked him as a simp. Back then he boldly said he would make Serena regret it. I questioned him. "Adrian, why did you lie to me about working overtime? If you still have feelings for Serena, then let's break up. In my love, Casamon, there is no room for a third party." He frowned, clearly impatient. "Casamon, can you stop being so sensitive? Breaking up over such a small matter. Your heart is way too narrow. A small matter. She once destroyed everything you had. Have you forgotten? That's all in the past," he said. "Back then her father forced her to deceive me. She was a victim too. A few years ago, her parents both died in a plane crash, and all their money was swindled away. Now she has no one to rely on, and makes a living washing dishes. She's really pitiful. Casamon, you have always been empathetic. We should help her, shouldn't we? Besides, right now I only see her as a sister. Stop overthinking it. And don't bring up the breakup again. The only person I want to marry is you." Because of this sentence, I wondered if I was really too sensitive. I should trust Adrian. Trust the promise we made years ago to never leave each other. But in the days that followed, I was harshly proven wrong. Adrian brought Serena into the company as his personal secretary, rented her a high-end apartment, and provided a luxury car for her alone to drive. He took her to climb up to watch the sunrise, to the beach to feel the sea breeze. When Serena's power went out, she called Adrian. When a pipe burst, she called Adrian. Even for a small cold, she called Adrian. No matter what Adrian was doing at the time, as soon as he received Serena's call, he would immediately drop everything to go to her. But my mother has been lying in the hospital for 3 months, and Adrian has come only a handful of times. My mother is often in a coma, but every time she wakes up she asks, "Where is Adrian? I miss him so much. Didn't he say he wanted to discuss your marriage with me? My only wish now is to see your wedding." I dare not tell my mother that Adrian has changed his heart, and that we won't have a wedding. But the doctor said that as long as my mother keeps a good mood, she can live a little longer. So I prepared to discuss holding a wedding with Adrian, to let my mother live a little longer. After my mother passes, they can entangle with each other as they please. It has nothing to do with me. I, Cass Simon, am not dependent on Adrian alone. But every time I was about to bring up the matter, something would happen to Serena. Either she twisted her ankle, or burned her hand with hot water. making Adrian immediately drop everything and rush to her side. In the end, I had to use some means, sending someone to block Serena, and then appealing to Adrian. With my mother's kindness towards him, I begged him to agree to marry me immediately. I begged for a long time. And finally, with a helpless look on his face, he nodded. Thus our wedding was arranged at the fastest speed. I thought everything would go smoothly. But at the wedding venue, Serena kept calling non-stop. Adrian ignored several calls, unwilling to turn off his phone. In the end, he answered Serena's call. And seeing that Serena was in the hospital, he became visibly panicked. At that moment, I completely lost faith in this man. But I had to keep him, because my mother was in the hospital, watching our wedding live. I grabbed him, begging desperately. Adrian, please don't go, okay? My mom's only wish is to witness our wedding. But to go see Serena. He shook off my hand and shouted angrily. Your mom is in the late stages of cancer. A person who is about to die. How can she be more important than Serena's life? It was because of that sentence that my mother's heart spasmed. And she never recovered. I hate that couple with all my heart. What did you say? Mom. Mom is dead. Adrian's face changed instantly, his voice trembling. Panic and disbelief flashing in his eyes. I held the urn tightly, my knuckles turning white. Yes, she's dead. She was driven to death by your constant anger. Adrian, you are the murderer. No, it wasn't me. I didn't mean to. He was flustered and helpless, his eyes reddening. Serena, however, pointed at the urn with a mocking tone. Cass Simon, you wouldn't be lying, would you? Actually, this box doesn't contain ashes at all. It's just flour, right? You want Adrian to feel guilty so he comes back to you, letting you control him. Casamon. How can you joke about your mother's life and death? I know you hate me and don't want to see me. If my leaving can make you two reconcile, I'm willing to leave. I will raise the child alone. I sincerely wish you and Adrian happiness. Please stop lying and fighting over someone as insignificant as me, okay? She really knows how to twist right and wrong. I was so angry. My hands trembled, wanting to tear that hypocritical face of hers apart. But Adrian believed her, staring at me with disgust. Casamon, how cruel can you be? You actually cursed your own mother to die. And used such despicable means to deceive me. He reached out to grab my. I want to see what's inside. Get away. Don't touch it. You're the last person my mom wants to see. But he ignored my struggles and lunged to snatch the urn. In the scuffle, the urn was thrown to the ground. The lid popped open. The fine white ashes scattered everywhere, filling the air with the sharp, pungent smell unique to ashes. My world collapsed with a crash. I fell to my knees, using all my strength to gather the scattered remains. But no matter how I tried, I couldn't piece it back together. Mom. Mom. I screamed with a heart-wrenching cry, the pain nearly suffocating me. Adrian stood there dazed, staring at the ground, covered with incredibly real ashes. His lips trembled, his expression shattered. Mom, she really died. Serena shrank back in fear, sobbing softly. I'm sorry, Casamon. If I had known it would be like this, I wouldn't have called brother Adrian that day. It's all my fault. You can take my life in exchange for his. Serena, it's not your fault. Don't cry, be careful not to harm the baby. Adrian immediately turned to comfort her, holding her in his arms. Mom was already in the late stages of cancer. Sooner or later she would have gone. This has nothing to do with you. Every word he said felt like a knife, stabbing into my heart. Enough. You two bastards. I shouted hysterically. Why isn't it you who died? Serena screamed and fell to the ground, clutching her stomach and wailing. Oh, my stomach hurts so much. Adrian, save our child. To save Serena. Adrian raised a vase and smashed it hard against me. My vision blurred, but he didn't even look at me. He just bent down, picked up Serena and ran out the door. The moment the door slammed shut heavily, I collapsed onto the cold, biting marble floor. All I could hear was my own breathing and the thick, sticky sound of blood dripping down. Before my consciousness faded, I fumbled for my phone and dialed emergency services. I can't die, not before that wretched woman dies. I absolutely cannot die. When I fainted, I had a very long dream. In the dream, Dad was still there, Mom was still there. And the three of us sat around the old wooden table at our old home eating. Outside the window were the summer cicadas and the creaking sound of the fan turning. Mom was feeding me, and Dad smiled, telling me to eat more. I laughed heartlessly like I did when I was a child, thinking happiness would last forever. But reality cruelly tore apart the dream. When I woke up and saw Adrian, the feeling of happiness instantly turned into nausea and disgust. He stood by the hospital bed, looking disheveled with bloodshot eyes. The moment he saw me awake, he immediately lowered his head and admitted his fault. Kasaman, I'm sorry I didn't know Mom was really gone. If I had known she was watching the live stream, I would never have said those things. Nor would I have cancelled the wedding at the last minute and run off. His voice was choked with emotion, as if he truly felt remorse. But I sneered coldly, turning my head away, not wanting to look at him for even a second. Knew very well that, even if he had known Mom was watching the live stream, he would still have gone to find Serena. Because in his heart Serena meant more than anyone else. Seeing that I ignored him, Adrian cautiously placed a lunchbox on the bedside table. You haven't eaten all day. This is the food I brought you. Eat at least a little. Don't punish yourself just to make me suffer. He opened the lunchbox by himself. Inside were lamb stewed with mushrooms, stir-fried celery, and a dish of minced meat with eggplant. How ridiculous. Not a single one is something I like to eat. But these are all Serena's favorites. I sneered coldly. Adrian, have you forgotten that I hate the taste of lamb? Don't like celery and dislike eggplant even more. His movements froze, and he explained somewhat flusteredly. Sorry Kasaman, I forgot. I'll be sure to pay attention next time. I rolled my eyes and glanced at the bouquet of lilies by the bedside. Who sent these flowers? Adrian immediately showed a. This is from Serena. She asked me to bring it to you. She said she hopes you can. Your memory really is terrible. I stared at the dazzling white lilies and interrupted him. I'm severely allergic to lily pollen. Did you forget that too? Feeling my cold gaze, Adrian hurriedly threw the lilies outside the hospital room. When he came back, he dared not look me in the eye. I'm sorry, I won't forget your preferences anymore. But Serena really meant well. Can you forgive her? Forgive? Impossible, never in this lifetime. I gritted my teeth and said if my gaze could kill, I would have torn those two bastards apart 1,000 times over. Adrian seemed completely impatient and angry. Kasaman, I know I was wrong about Mom's death. I understand your sadness. But you can't keep twisting others' good intentions. I swear I will spend my whole life making it up to you. Once you get better, we'll immediately hold an even grander wedding. To make up for all the regrets. A grand wedding. My voice suddenly rose, my nails digging hard into my palm. My mom is gone, completely gone. So what the hell do I need a damn wedding for? Get out right now. I shouted, using all my strength to sweep the food container to the floor. The smell of food mixed with flowers and disinfectant hit my nose, suffocating and nauseating. Adrian stood there, startled, but still tried to approach and comfort me. Cass, Simon, don't get so worked up, I'm leaving. I'm leaving right now. After saying that, he hurriedly fled the hospital room doorway, not forgetting to glance back once, as if he was truly worried I might try to kill myself. So hypocritical and pitiful. Not long after, Serena appeared in my hospital room, with the posture of a victor. Tears hung in Serena's eyes, feigning fragility. Kasaman, I'm sorry, I sneered coldly. Stop pretending. I'm not Adrian. Your tears won't soften me. They only make me feel disgusted. She immediately stopped crying, a mocking smile curling at the corner of her mouth. All right, then I won't pretend anymore. I looked her in the eye and asked, on the day of the wedding, was it intentional that you called Adrian? Yes. Serena nodded without hesitation. I just want you to understand that, even if he's wearing a wedding dress, the most important person in his heart is only me. She looked down, fiddling with her nails, then looked up at me with a bright smile. That day I even asked him, if he cancelled the wedding to come find me, would you and your mother be very upset? As she said this, she suddenly pulled out her phone and waved it in front of me. Want to hear how he answered? Before I could speak, she had already pressed play. What are those mother and daughter to me? They are nothing but my family servants. They think they have done me a favor, so they always morally blackmail me. I've been fed up with those two for a long time. I want to turn off the phone. I want to leave them hanging for a few days, so that the mother and daughter can clearly understand their place. Serena, the only person I love is you. And only you deserve to be my wife. After listening, my fists clenched so tightly they turned white. Serena looked at the change in my expression, her eyes shining even happier than before. I told you, as long as I snap my fingers, Adrian will come back to me. I laughed. You're quite straightforward. So to you, is Adrian a bootlicker or an ATM? She blinked without hiding anything. You're both a bootlicker and an ATM. She glanced at me and Kasaman. You were born to be pathetic. When the Fu family went bankrupt, you guarded him like a dog. And yet he still continued being my bootlicker. Even if you two really got married, you'd just be raising our kids for us. Constantly watching us show off our love. I just smiled slightly. If one day someone richer and more able to satisfy your vanity than Adrian comes along, would you abandon your husband and children? I stared into her eyes and asked deliberately. Serena rolled her eyes, acting as if it was obvious. Is that even a question? Whoever has the money, I'll be with them. A slight smile appeared at the corner of my mouth. Too bad Adrian just told me. He's going to hold the wedding again. To make up for my pain. He's going to give me all the company shares. And cut ties with you forever. You, my dear, are chasing after nothing and will become poor again. Serena's makeup cracked instantly on her face. And she widened her eyes. Impossible. He said. He only acted for you, but he was sincere with me. My tone was gentle yet cruel. Don't forget he once swore to make you regret it. Everything he's doing now is to trap you. Then abandon you. Making you feel the taste from heaven to hell. Impossible. Serena said confidently. Adrian will always be my sycophant. And I'll prove it to you. The next moment, she suddenly sat down on the floor and slapped herself. A crisp, loud sound. Tears slid down her cheeks as she choked out, Casamon. It's all my fault. If you want to hit my face, don't kick my stomach. The child is innocent. When I looked up, Adrian was already at the door. He rushed in and pulled Serena into his arms. When he looked at me, his eyes were full of anger and reproach. Casamon, you've really disappointed me. If you have grievances, take them out on me. But don't harm the innocent. He picked up Serena and strode out of the ward, turning back to warn me. Reflect on yourself properly. You've done that. Come apologize to Serena. Otherwise, don't blame me for not showing any mercy. After they left, I calmly pressed pause on the recording and saved the video. Then I dialed Adrian's rivals. Mr. Byron interested in a partnership. The day after being discharged, I started working at the rival company. Mr. Byron personally received me, appointed me as project manager, and offered a salary 3 times what I earned at Adrian's company. This smooth transition was thanks to Adrian not marrying me in the first place. And even more so because when I asked him to marry me, he insisted I quit my job and be a housewife. Before agreeing. That's why I was free and able to join the new company, without any constraints. As a form of repayment, I naturally have to create greater profits for the company. I, Casamon, have never been just a figurehead. Half of the clients in Adrian's company were brought in through my hard work and effort. Now that I have left, my clients should choose better partners. It took me 3 months to bring my former clients to the new company. Because of my arrival, the new company's profits tripled once again. In contrast, Adrian's company lost several major contracts in a row. Partners withdrew their investments one after another, and the book showed losses of more than half. Serena, taking advantage of her pregnancy to bully the senior employees, scolded them harshly. Many people resigned in anger and jumped ship to join my team. Miss Casamon. 3 more senior employees from Foo's company have submitted their resumes. This month the HR smiled and said, they all said they want to work with you. He smiled faintly. Let them try it out for a month first. Then decide their positions based on their abilities. The phone screen lit up with a photo sent from an anonymous account. Adrian sitting alone in an empty conference room. His eyes bloodshot. A table full of documents no one dared to touch. Serena decked out in gold and silver, maxing out her credit cards at the mall, flaunting on Facebook as the winner in life. The irony was sharp. Night fell, and just after I finished showering, I heard the doorbell ringing wildly, each ring more urgent than the last. I looked through the peephole. It was Adrian. His suit was wrinkled and shabby, stubble unkempt. Not much better than a beggar. I opened the door but didn't let him in. What are you here for? He was gasping for breath, his face burning with anger. Cass Simon, are you crazy? You are my wife. How can you betray me? I replied coldly, countering, do we have a marriage certificate? Or a wedding? I'm not your wife. So how can there be any talk of betrayal? He was stunned for a few seconds, then quickly became angry and ashamed. Isn't it just a marriage certificate? Isn't it just a wedding? Tomorrow we'll go to the Civil Affairs Bureau to get the certificate. The day after we'll hold the wedding. Pack your things now and come back with me. The company needs you returned to your original position. On what grounds? I raised an eyebrow at him. On the grounds that you fell out of love. Or that you caused my mother's death. Or perhaps that you almost smashed my head with a vase. The air suddenly stiffened. His lips trembled slightly. before he finally lowered his head and whispered. Kasamon. I'm sorry. But the company is really in trouble right now. I can't just stand by and watch it go bankrupt. After all, it's something we built together. Those hard years we endured, I have never forgotten them. I sneered coldly. So you still remember that? We propped up the company together. But what about the shares? When you drove me out, did you ever give me a single cent? His face turned as pale as paper, powerless to argue. Only left with a humble plea. Kasamon, I was wrong. If you mind Serena, I'll send her abroad immediately. She won't appear in front of you again. He suddenly knelt down, gripping my hand tightly, his voice hoarse with tears. I only now realize how important you are to me. I beg you, please don't leave me. Without you I will die. Utterly hypocritical. Absolutely disgusting. I raised my foot and kicked him hard in the chest, saying coldly, then go die. I slammed the door shut, blocking out all the noise and filth, leaving the room as quiet as before. Not even half an hour of silence passed before the doorbell rang again. This time more urgently than before, like a death knell, which really pissed me off. I opened the door, intending to give Adrian a piece of my mind, only to find Serena standing there, 4 months pregnant yet still wearing sky-high heels, carrying a limited edition bag. Her eyes fixed on me. Kasamon, aren't you cheap? You've broken up. So why are you still clinging to Adrian? I leaned against the door frame, watching her tremble with anger, and found it amusing. Which eye of yours saw me clinging to him? It's clearly him who's been pasturing me, saying he can't live without me, and begging me to come back. Serena, flustered and angry, said. Aren't you? Just relying on the fact that you helped Adrian before. And now you want to take him back. Take him back? Didn't you say Adrian was your sycophant? What now? The sycophant isn't obedient anymore. She was so choked up she couldn't speak, her face turning pale and then flushed, gritting her teeth as she said. Simon, I warn you. Don't play tricks anymore or else. Or else what? I interrupted her, playing with the ring on my fingertip. Instead of worrying about me, you should worry about yourself. Hurry up and register your marriage with Adrian, to become legal spouses. Otherwise the luxury car and mansion he gave me are all voluntary gifts, and you have no right to claim them back. Serena was breathing heavily, her hands clenched tightly into fists. Don't be too arrogant. Arrogance is a fact, I said with a faint smile. After all those years, who stayed up late with him writing proposals, running after clients, shouldering debts? Now that the company is on the brink of bankruptcy, he finally realizes who is the most important. She glared at me fiercely, gritting her teeth. Simons, will see about that. I don't know what method Serena used, but a week later, I received their wedding invitation from her and Adrian. Mr. Byron and I arrived on time to attend their wedding. The venue was dazzling with lights and bustling with voices. Serena wore an ill-fitting wedding dress, adorned with all kinds of jewelry, as if afraid that others wouldn't know how wealthy she was. When she saw me, her expression instantly darkened. Her high heels clicked loudly on the floor as she rushed toward us, glancing back every few steps. Kasamon, you really dare to come, she sneered coldly. Well, since you're here, let me show you how happy Adrian and I are. Also, I warn you, stay away from Adrian. He's already a married man. And I hope you won't do anything despicable. I smiled without a word, treating her like a clown. But Byron suddenly took my hand and smiled slightly at. My girlfriend isn't that blind. Having me is enough. I tried to pull my hand away, but he held on tighter and pulled me into his embrace. Serena trembled with anger, her voice changing tone. Simon, what right does a nanny's daughter have to be Mr. Byron, the eldest young master of the Liu family's girlfriend? You must have used some underhanded means. Serena, please keep your mouth clean. Mr. Byron's gaze turned cold and sharp. Serena gritted her teeth, but dared not say anything more. Just then Adrian came over, his eyes red and swollen, looking at me with a complex and painful expression. Kasamon, did you leave me because of him? No. I looked him straight in the eyes. I left you because you are a scumbag. And even more because you caused my mother's death. This grudge I will never forget in my life. So I decided to give him a big gift. Adrian was stunned, wanting to say more, but Serena dragged him away fiercely. The wedding officially began. The bride and groom standing in the center of the stage. The host picked up the microphone and announced, in a standard tone, let us together revisit the romantic love journey of the bride and groom. The big screen lit up, capturing everyone's attention. Guests raised their phones, ready to record the beautiful moment. However, the image on the big screen made everyone gasp in shock. Not a sweet, lovingly edited silhouette under filters, but a video of Serena provoking me in a hospital ward. In the video, she was arrogant and defiant, completely over the top, staging and fabricating a story that I had hit her. Next, there was an even more explosive video. Footage secretly taken of her in recent years abroad, acting as a mistress to wealthy men, showing scenes too shameful to bear. Some people laughed, some mocked, and others live-streamed. The scene descended into chaos. Serena screamed hysterically, "Turn it off. Turn it off. You're not allowed to watch. Not allowed." But no one paid her any mind. The more she shouted, the more the guests wanted to watch. Adrian stood frozen, stunned. After watching all the videos, his face turned pale. His lower lip trembled and veins bulged on his fists. Furious beyond control, he glared at Serena. "So all these years I was just your lapdog. So that day you deliberately called me. And you're the one who killed Jean Ma." Serena stepped forward, grabbing his arm and shaking it desperately. "Adrian, it's not true. It's not true. They framed me. Please don't believe it." But Adrian completely lost control, pushing her down at the edge of the stage and viciously kicking her. "Bitch. If it weren't for you, how could I have lost the two women who loved me the most? It's all your fault." Serena collapsed on the ground wailing. Seeing the blood, Adrian instantly sobered up, but then immediately became so scared and confused that he even wanted to flee the scene. But before he could leave the stage, the police. "Mr. Adrian, we have received a report accusing you of tax evasion and embezzlement. Please come with us." Adrian earned himself a silver bracelet with solid evidence of tax evasion and embezzlement. He was sentenced to 10 years in prison. The irony is I had long warned him to pay his taxes, but he just ignored me, saying the tax bureau could never catch him. How naive. As for embezzling public funds, it was all to hold a so-called wedding of the century for Serena. Serena forced him to marry her, threatening to have an abortion if he refused. Adrian couldn't bear to lose the child, but he had no money, so he had to use the company's funds, robbing Peter to pay Paul. In the end, he even lost his own money. The company's financial chain broke, and overnight it went bankrupt and was liquidated. His luxury mansion and sports cars were all seized to pay debts or taxes. And Serena, after the miscarriage, she lay in a hospital bed, declared permanently infertile by the doctors. She went mad, smashing things and screaming, "Why? Why? I am the eldest daughter of the Lin family. My life shouldn't be like this." She and Adrian had only just registered their marriage a few days ago, so there was no joint marital property to divide. But she might have to bear part of the joint debt. She was so frightened that she fled the city overnight. Adrian repeatedly asked the prison guards to see me. Every time I refused. Why would I go see him? To watch him cry and confess his love to me, saying he was wrong, and that the only person he loved was me. It's disgusting. It would give me nightmares. Life must go on. And work became the center of my entire life. A year later, I voluntarily resigned and started my own company from scratch. The early days of entrepreneurship were extremely tough, but every step was a solid footprint. Byron pursued me, earnestly confessed his love, and even proposed. But each time, I smiled and politely declined without hesitation. Mr. Byron is wealthy, handsome, gentle, and excellent. A truly rare match. But I can be better than him. I, Casamon, am not just someone's wife. I am myself, Casamon. 3 years have passed and my company has stabilized. Although it is small, I am confident in growing my company step by step. It's been a long time since I last heard any news about Adrian and Serena. The next time I heard about them was when their names appeared on the Legal Affairs channel. Adrian, who had just been released from prison, was arrested again. It is said that after his release, he made many inquiries and finally found out Serena's whereabouts. Serena returned to her old ways, becoming a mistress to a wealthy man. But when the rich man's wife found out, she had Serena's leg broken. Using the money from selling the Fu family's heirloom, she painted herself as a pitiful person and married an honest man, living a relatively stable life. I just didn't expect that one day Adrienne, freshly released from prison, would come knocking at her door. This ending makes me feel quite wistful. But I don't sympathize with them. They got what they deserved.